Yo, Hungerbug Gaming here, and today we're going to be looking at Destiny Update 2.4.0, the one that's preparing for Rise of Iron. This update has some pretty big stuff, so let's get right into it. First, let's look at the weapon class changes. The auto rifles, they've reduced the maximum magazine size for the highest rate of fire autos, stuff like the Doctrine of Passing, and they've increased all damage to the middle rate of fire autos by 1.5%. Next, the pulse rifles. They increased the rate of fire for one Hawkeye pulse rifle, and they increased damage for the middle rate of fire pulse rifles like the Nerfs Mercy by 2%. Hand cannons. They didn't actually change anything to the guns themselves, they just fixed issues where stat bars weren't displaying correctly on certain weapons. Then the shotguns. The Mobius. Decreased spread on Titan class shotgun, 0.1 zoom factor increase, increased base stability 60%. They increased the rate of fire for middle to low rate of fire shotguns damages by 2%, and they reduced the spread angle penalty on shotguns with the full auto perk. Invective was not affected by this though. Next is the sniper rifles. This is where most of the big changes happened. They reduced damage on the middle to high impact sniper rifles, stuff like the 1,000-yard stare, by 6.95%. This means that middle to high impact snipers can no longer reliably kill high armor guardians in their super. No Land Beyond was not affected by this though. They reduced the target acquisition for the LDR and the longbow synthesis to bring it in line with the other snipers in its class. And pretty much they made flinch much more prevalent in snipers, so when people are shooting at you with primaries, it's a lot harder for you to get your sniper shot off first try headshot. First shot you get 30%, next is 50%, and it keeps going up with every subsequent hit until you reach 100% max deflection. Another change with them, overall sniper ADS aim deflection multiplier increased to 1.9 from 1.85. And they fixed an issue where another UI stat bar was incorrect. Sidearms, they unified damage for all sidearm types. They increased damage for existing Hawkeye sidearm families by 3% for the lowest rate of fire and 7% for the highest rate of fire. They decreased the damage for non-hit scan sidearms by 5% for Dynasty and Dynasty and the Queen's Choice. Minor increased the stability for sidearms across the board, and they added 20 to 30% more PvE damage depending on the enemy combatant. And they changed some of the UI bars in the sidearms. Doesn't actually change the way they fire, just the way it displays. Fusion rifles, they also got a UI stat bar change. Nothing to gameplay, just visual. For the rocket launchers, they buffed the cluster bomb perk, so now it can reliably do more damage to enemies. And grenades and horseshoes perk proc radius reduced from 1.3 meters to 1 meter. Truth is not affected by this though. And machine guns, they increase damage on the highest rate of fire machine guns by 4%. As for weapon perks, they've changed or adjusted a lot of the highly underutilized perks to make them more useful. Now let's get to the exotic weapons. The universal remote. The exotic perk range bonus reduced by 75%, no longer guarantees maximum shotgun range, and increased rate of fire, which means decreased damage as a secondary effect of this. The Fabian strategy. Kills with this weapon now automatically load a portion of the magazine, increase base range by 16%, and increase base stability by 44%. Thorn. Reduce base range by 25%. The Dreg's Promise. Increase damage by 8% and increase magazine size by 3. Touch of Malice. The Touch of Malice's self-inflicting damage now removes the Blessing of Light buff. No time to explain, they added the perk Head Seeker. And the Boolean Gemini also got a perk added, high caliber rounds. For armor, the big one here is that class items can now accept shaders, which is pretty awesome. And they fixed a bug where armor perks sometimes fail to function. For the activities, the public events, you get more loot based on your gold completion, silver, or bronze. With quests, the quest menu has been changed and renamed to Progress. Record books have been moved from the materials on the inventory menu to their own location in the Progress menu. Quest bounty and reputation displays have been adjusted. Changes to the Crucible include Legendary engrams have been removed from the Crucible, so Crucible legendary weapons will drop significantly more often. The Crucible Quartermaster weekly bounties have been removed. The free Sterling Treasure from weekly Crucible and Postmaster will be discontinued. Sterling Treasure is still available from Prison of Elders and Eververse. Some adjustments to the game types. 3v3 game types give slightly less heavy ammo per brick. Trials will be returning September 30th. And in elimination/trials, heavy ammo only appears in one location opposed to two opposite sides of the map. In salvage, changes were made to points, times, and distances, and various things throughout that. In Rift, you get an overshield when a player spawns to cut down on spawn camping, and extended runner damage resistance when picking up a spark by a few seconds. There's just minor updates to the maps and the UI, but that was the meat of this update. These Crucible changes went live September 8th. They go hand in hand with the new Rise of Iron Crucible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Only 5 minutes left. Double kill.